Better? Okay. So we're going to introduce ourselves, but just real quick, I'm Sarah Hurley. I'm with the chamber. I've been with the chamber for 7-8 years, and I'm on the board for the last 4 years. And I work kind of exclusively with the chamber in terms of our marketing efforts. So I thought it would be a good idea to put a marketing panel together for us as we start 2023 for all of you to talk about how you all impact marketing within your organization. Doesn't matter if you are a small business owner, if you're the office manager, if you're the branch manager, if you're an account executive, whatever your role within your organization is, you play a role within marketing. So we wanted to come and talk to you from that perspective, how you influence marketing within your organization. So again, I'm Sarah. I own Weber Marketing. It's a small consulting firm, and I love helping businesses get on the right track for marketing. So I'm not necessarily a website developer or graphic design or a writer. I like doing the things that come all before that, helping you figure out what type of marketing, a direction for marketing, what type of resources you should be doing.
I'm Sarah Ingalls with Tingalls Graphic Design and Website Development.
I'm Maggie Baum.
It's on, it's just not very loud. I don't know how to turn it on. Try now.
Hello? Is this better? No.
It's up as far as it goes.
Oh, I think this. Is it dead?
No,
It's
it's
on.
on. It's just not very loud.
Hello? No. Okay. Well, I'm a loud talker, so hopefully you can hear me. I'm Maggie Baum. I run Maggie. I do message development and strategic communications. Let's talk about.
Hello? No, the light's not even on. Battery's on, but it looks like it's dead. All right, I'm just going to use my mom voice when I've been telling my kids for the 3rd time to do something. So hopefully this works for you guys. So again, our objective for today is just to help you understand what your role is in terms of marketing efforts, no matter your role. Again, small business owner, branch manager, account executive, whatever your role is. So one of the things that I hear is I'm in customer service. So my role doesn't influence our marketing efforts. Totally not true. Every single person in this room, no matter what your role is, you influence the marketing, or you have an influence over the marketing direction and outcome within your organization. So how can I help you set up for marketing in the best possible way? If you've heard me speak here before at the chamber, you've heard me say this over and over and over again. I do not care what your role is within your organization. You have to have specific defined business goals, whether it's for your business or your particular role as an account executive or a branch manager, or you need to work with the leadership within your team, within your organization. Now, is this better? Okay. Within your organization to define specific goals. So don't say things generically like drive business, grow business. That's way too generic. Grow business in what area of your business? Are you looking to grow within a territory? Are you looking to grow into the Wanakee area? Are you looking to sell or grow your business to moms a little bit more? So do you hear the difference? So make sure you, whatever your role is, make sure you're being specific with your business goals. Also, be realistic with your business goals and what you can do with your marketing efforts. If you are a more closed person and you're not so much a people person with being out in public and giving speaking events, then don't put a lot of trade shows or presentations or seminars in your marketing efforts, right? That doesn't fit with who you are. So make sure you're being realistic with your marketing efforts of what your goals are and within your team. If you don't have somebody on your team that's comfortable with social media, then that probably shouldn't be a big thing on your list, and or no, you have to fill it, right? Does that make sense? So make sure you're realistic with your goals. Gather insights. This is where where all of you play a key role within an organization. Whatever your role is, you hold a wealth of information. So if you're the executive team, if you're the owner, okay, you own the business goals, you own the direction, you own sort of where you want to get that helps everybody else around you have a direction and a purpose. If you're in HR, you're the one out recruiting for our organization. What do you sound like when you're talking about our brand? Finance, you're the ones that can tell us in marketing or if we're planning for marketing. If you're in finance, you can help us understand where's our best return on investment. Okay, where's our time best spent? If you're in sales, you're the front line. Okay, you tell us why people are doing business with us or why they're not doing business with us. That's a huge influence for us. Customer service, same thing. You provide a wealth of information for us of what problems people are calling about, what hurdles are they running into with our product or service. So no matter your role, you hold some key insight that can help those of us in marketing move down a path for success. And then understand marketing. I'm not expecting anyone in this room to be a marketing major, but if you can learn and understand just the basics of marketing and what you're asking for, that can go a long way with your marketing peers, whether they be internally or externally. So I kind of like to define marketing as a marketing what and a marketing how, okay? Marketing what is this big umbrella. And this is where a lot of people think marketing just solely sits with advertising or creative work. But these are all the things that fall under the marketing umbrella in terms of public relations, brand identity, your logo, what does your website look like, things like that, digital marketing, right? Then there's the how, and this is the one that's often forgot about in terms of when you're planning for marketing, is how is it actually going to get done? Who's going to be the person behind the wheel that's making everything fall into place when it needs to be? You have somebody that's going to develop a marketing strategy based off your business goals. You're going to have somebody that creates a plan, okay? And this is where that umbrella actually falls into. The plan is where all of those drops under the umbrella come to life, okay? That's where your graphic designer is, your writer, your web developer, your social media specialist. But then you still need somebody that's behind the scenes running and putting all of those pieces together. And then you have measure and refinement. That makes sense? So when you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking about what do we do internally and what can we do, don't just get stuck on, we want to do social media, or we want to build a website or put a new page on our website, okay? There's a little bit more to it of how does that fit with the strategy that you have in place? What other things do you have on your plan? Are you being realistic with that you can actually accomplish those things with the team that you have internally? Or do you need to hire externally? Does that make sense? Any questions about those? Nope. Great. I'm going to hand it over to Maggie.
All right, hi everyone. This is my first time presenting to this group. I joined a few months back, so it's great to be here. My name is Maggie Baum. I have been in public relations and strategic communications for about 25 years now. Hard to believe it when I say that out loud. I work out of my home in Monona, and I've been a full-time independent consultant on this topic for about the last 12 years. So, you know, there are a lot of buzzwords: PR, word of mouth marketing, strategic communications. Really, the easiest way to think about what I do is I help you tell your story. I help clients tell their story, whether you're a nonprofit or a bank or a chiropractor or a school district. Everybody has their unique story to tell. So really the essence of what I do under Sarah's marketing umbrella is help people articulate and define what makes them different. So a lot of people say, well, I know what we do. I know this business inside and out. I can talk about it. Well, what you really need is a strategic message map to guide you. So one of the first steps I always recommend when you're looking at your marketing efforts is to come up with the essence of what is your story. You might have heard this referred to as a USP, a unique selling point, or a value proposition, but really it is, what is your story? What makes you different? What makes you better? What helps you stand out from the competition? Doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are, every business and organization really needs to take the time to intentionally think about what sets them apart, what makes their story unique so that they can tell it in a compelling way. If you can't articulate this, you can't expect your target audiences, the people you're trying to sell to, or the people you're trying to convince or sway, you can't expect them to get on board with your story if you can't articulate it in a compelling way yourself. So it doesn't matter if you're big or small, everyone needs a message map to guide efforts. So just a quick example, I work with a small independent pharmacy in a different community, and they have a lot of great things they can say about themselves. They can say, oh, hey, we offer free delivery, or we go above and beyond just filling prescriptions. We have vaccines and injections, and we do this and we do that. And I think where a lot of people get caught up in and have a challenge is that they focus on their attributes instead of focusing on what is unique or of value that they offer that's different. So offering free delivery, that's just an attribute. But you really want to articulate from a bigger picture perspective what makes you different, what makes you unique. So we go back to Sarah's, I love this slide. If we go back to this slide, you really can think about your message strategy as being the thing that is just right at the bottom of that umbrella. It should overlay all of these other tactics, all of these other pieces of the marketing puzzle. I like to talk about the 3 C's. So when you're thinking about, when you get to the point where you've articulated some of your key points, your unique, what makes you different, what makes you better, you could probably write a book about it, but I always encourage people to follow these 3 C's. The first one is be consistent. This is sort of the foundation. You want to make sure you're using a consistent set of language, consistent words and phrases, so that you're being consistent throughout all your efforts. And that starts to resonate with people. They start learning who you are because you're being consistent in what you say. Next is be compelling. So use really descriptive words, use action-oriented language, use things that show impact, that connect with people. Use compelling language. And then finally, be concise. This is actually probably my favorite aspect of what I do is editing. Give me something that's 500 words and tell me to make it 200. That's my favorite task. And I just love the quote that I shared here from Mark Twain. I wanted to write you a shorter letter, but I didn't have time. So being concise really takes effort. It's not just about being brief. It's about taking your key messages and distilling them in a really concise way so that you're not using a lot of extra words and phrases and clutter. You know, it is definitely a matter of quality over quantity. And then finally, just a couple of quick tips to how you can make your story stick. The first one, I like to say lather, rinse, repeat. If you feel like you're repeating yourself, if you feel like you're just saying the same things over and over, if you feel like, oh, I can't put that on social media because I just shared it in my newsletter, you're doing something right. Most of the time, your audiences are not going to see, read, or remember the majority of what you're putting out to them. So keep saying the same things, repurpose them, use them on all your channels, and then those messages start to stick. Also, get on a schedule. So make sure you're keeping this somewhere in your recurring to-do list to keep paying attention to your message strategy, because as soon as you think it's finished, there might be something that you need to add, or you need to adjust something because of outside circumstances, like hello, COVID. Anyone have to shift some things around for that? So make sure you schedule time in for that. And it might be a matter of actually putting things on your calendar, depending on how often you communicate with your audiences. It might be something that you need a daily 15 minutes to get something out on social. It might be you need a weekly hour set aside to just go through your messages, where you're putting them, what kind of impact they're having. And then that leads into the last point, which is pay attention to the feedback loop. I always really advise people that communication is not just you pushing out information. It should be a two-way street. It should be you interacting and engaging with your audiences, and then using the feedback you get from them to further refine. That's why the message map is really never done, because if you're paying attention to the feedback loop, and if you're paying attention to how people are responding to you, then you're probably going to be continually making refinements and adjustments to those key messages. So you can make sure they stay fresh and on track and that they really connect with your audiences. That's what I've got. We're going to take questions at the end, but if anyone has an immediate questions. Otherwise, Tara?
All right, so I'm Tara Ingalls. I own Tingalls Graphic Design and Website Development. We're located in Fitchburg. And once you've got your goals and your strategic plan and you've met with Maggie and you've got your copy, it's time to start the design process. And so I'm here to talk a little bit about how you can work with your design professionals to make it easier on both your lives. So one of the questions, that was posed here was, why is the marketing department or agency taking so long to get that flyer designed? Isn't that what they do for a living, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's very difficult to design anything without any design input whatsoever. It's like saying to a painter, hey, come over and paint my house. And that's all you give them, right? You don't give them the color. You don't tell them what kind of finish you want, whatever. So I've got some tips here to help you provide good design input, no matter what, what area of your organization that you're involved in. So the more design input you can share, the more on target the initial designs of whatever you're trying to design are going to be, saving both of you time and money if it's an outsourced design firm. So the first is, what's the goal of the piece? And I've got two examples that I'll go in a little more detail. But what is the goal of this piece? What do you want this thing to do for you? How is it going to move your marketing forward or move your company forward? How is it being delivered? Is it being delivered by hand? Is it being sent via email? Is it an attachment to an email? Is it going on a billboard? Is it, whatever? What's the text that needs to go in there? What are some key points that you want to make sure that this piece delivers when it's designed? And normally, if you have the goal, it will lead into what the text needs to be in that product. What's the main call to action? What do you want them to do when they see do they want them to call you? Is it scan a QR code? Is it pick up, schedule a meeting? What is it? Make that very clear on whatever you design. How many pieces do you need? So if it's for a trade show and the people at the trade show place are saying, well, we have normally on average about 2,000 attendees. Do you need 2,000 pieces? Not unless you're doing bag stuffing. You probably need about half that or a quarter of that at your booth. And then what's the timeline? So if you have that event on March 1st, working backwards from them, how long does it take your marketing department to deliver that piece to you, or at least the initial design of it? So here's an example. This is a rack card. So for example, let's say you're in HR and you're going to an employment trade show, and you need something at your booth that is an overview piece of your company, right? And so you know that you have this trade show and you know that you need to hand something out, right? So we know that the goal of it is to introduce your company and your services. We know that you want to give it out by hand, or you're going to use it as a follow-up and mail it. It needs to have an overview of the company, the services that you provide, and then maybe some client testimonials or maybe employee testimonials if it's an HR piece. The call to action is to visit the website, call for an appointment, something along those lines. Photos, we know that we want to have a photo of the owner of the company, and then maybe, again, some icons from the website design, just showcasing what the company does. The trade show is 1,000 people, so I know that I want to have at least 250 of these, and the event is April 1st. If you gave that to your designer, they would love you, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of what they need to do. Instead of going, I got a trade show in April, can you design a marketing piece for me? Is it a multi-page brochure? Is it going to be something like a folder with inserts? The other thing that I left off of here is budget. If you have an idea of what the budget is for the event, that's another thing that you can clearly communicate with them, because a rack card is going to be a lot less expensive than doing a folder with a bunch of inserts in it that will probably end up in a trade show bag on somebody's office floor after they attend the event, right? So here's another one. Here's a sales flyer. So maybe you're a salesperson and you have a new property and you want to be able to showcase that with a downloadable PDF from the website or an email attachment that you can send to prospective buyers. So what is the goal? It's an overview of the property. You're going to be delivering it through a download website or you're going to be emailing it. So then the designer knows that it needs to be a PDF, right? They need to be in some sort of a form that everyone can access. The text needs to include the address of the property, the price, the property details, etc. The call to action would be to schedule a tour. Photos need to be included, such as the building photos, maybe a site plan. The quantity is not applicable because you're not actually printing this product. And then your timeline is that, hey, we need this uploaded by March 10th because that's when it goes on the market. So you give all of your designer those pieces of information, and it can be really lucrative, both time and cost wise, to getting it done right, getting it done quickly, and getting it done on budget. So that's what I have for you. And then we're going to open the floor to see if anybody has any questions.
I have a couple comments actually first, because I loved both of your slides. If I go back to Maggie's get on a schedule, a lot of people don't know for social media that there's schedulers out there for you. And it's extremely helpful if you're in charge of social media for your organization. If you figure out how Facebook or whatever social media platform that you use, figure out that scheduler, because you can go in at a month's time and you can create all of your posts and get on that schedule. So there's consistency. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays are your social media days, and you can schedule them out and you're done. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, today's Tuesday, I got to think of a post really fast. That's not on target. That's not on brand. So if you are in charge of social media, I would suggest you look up or find the scheduler within your platform, or there's platform tools that can sync in a bunch of your different platforms. So there's schedules out there that are really, really helpful. And then pay attention to the feedback loop, whether it's social media. It's really key to watch those comments that are coming back when you are posting or you're not posting. And then they have analytics too. So you can see, is it more men or women, age, location? You can see all that stuff, and your website. So if analytics, that word scares you, maybe it doesn't need to because it's not your job, but if it is sort of within your job or you're working with your marketing person, there are analytics available that can help answer some of those questions for you. And then I love this. This is great, and Tara's right. If you can answer some of these things for your designer, it will help your budget and your timeline. But I sometimes feel people pause here because they don't know how to say the right words to us to answer these questions, or they're not sure. That's okay. If you can answer some of them, that's great, like your deadline and your budget. Like, I don't want to spend more than $500 on this, and I need it within 2 weeks. That automatically puts Tara in a zone of what she's able to offer you. And if you don't know what the call to action should be or what the right phrase is, that's okay. That's her, she can help you with that, but at least let her know in your own words, I want people to follow up with me via email. Perfect. That wasn't the right words. That's not going to go on your brochure, your rat card, but at least gives her a direction of what you're looking to do with the piece. Does that make sense? So don't get stuck when dealing with marketing of making sure you're using the right words with us. We know you don't need to have the right words. That's our job. But give us some information to work off of, and we can help you through the rest. So I had those 2 comments on your slides because they were great. Questions for any of us?